Hey everybody, welcome to the latest episode of the Rock Experience with Mike Brunn. On this episode, I'm really excited to have with me Ripper Owens, and we're going to talk all about the new forthcoming album from Judas Priest. I think you guys are going to really enjoy this episode, so let's jump in and let's get started. Congratulations on the release of the forthcoming album, set to be released a little over a week from now.
Yes, about time.
Yeah, right? What was it like for you recording an album during a pandemic?
Well, we actually recorded it, the most of it before, right before. Actually, it was just starting. I flew home from England the beginning of March of 2020. So, you started seeing, I was actually touring all of February in England and Europe as well. So then I recorded this. So we just finished it and had all the plans to tour and get it out. And then, then the big one hit there. Mm-hmm. So, and then I was able to, so all the vocals were done. Everything was done. But when the pandemic hit and we couldn't release it, then we started tinkering around. I was able to redo a few vocals at home I wasn't even able to, we weren't even able to get together again until a few months ago when we recorded, when we got together finally to shoot the two videos for and do a photo shoot. We shot two videos for Brothers of the Road and Raise Your Fists. But the first two videos, I shot green screen at home and the drummers in San Diego. So yeah, we got it done right before it, so this will be a rememberable album that we did.
Absolutely. And I know the fans were anxious for it. It was supposed to originally come out in August, put off a couple of months till October. Was that because of the pandemic, or like you said, you were just tinkering with things? Was that the reason for that?
No, it was done. I think the main reason I really think is probably because supply and demand. I'm not 100% sure, but I know things like vinyl is way behind. Obviously, we're living in a time right now where nobody wants to work, and so they're used to getting their unemployment. So all the vinyl factories are way behind. Three Trimmers is, it's going to take like 4 months or some ungodly amount of time to get vinyls. So I think what happened was, what it seems like is we probably wanted to release everything at the same time. So,
sure.
We didn't want to have it come out in August and then people can't get some of the product until, October. And I think that's really what happened. I think it also probably, the demand was higher even for the vinyl than they thought, this is something, that's what I'm guessing. I haven't got a definitive answer, but I think that's what it was. I think it just was harder at that time to get the stuff.
Absolutely. And, right now, vinyl is actually outselling all the other mediums. So I'm sure that that's the case. And I've heard some other bands have as much as 9 months between when they place an order for the vinyl and when it's ready. So that totally makes sense to me, what you're saying.
Well, I think it was, I was just talking to Sean from Three Trimmers a little bit ago, and I'm certain that's what he told me, because he handles everything for the Three Trimmers. So yeah, it's crazy. You can get something if you want to get some cheaply made vinyl from some other country or whatever, you could do it. I think this probably was a good time for me to start a vinyl company, so I could have, because I would have
You ain't kidding. You ain't kidding. And while we're on the topic of the vinyl, I know on the website you guys are going to be offering signed vinyl. Is that correct?
Signed vinyls, but I think it must be just KK signature, because nobody's asked me to sign any. So
that's too bad.
I will sign everybody's vinyl at the shows.
Awesome.
but yeah, shockingly, I usually sign vinyls or when we offer that, but no one's asked me to do it. And I get asked that every day from somebody online. Are you signing the vinyls, Mike? I don't think so, because I wasn't asked.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you for that information. Now, you just said you've done a few videos. You know, the band has actually released 4 singles at this point on YouTube to stream, whatever. The feedback has been, I'm sure you've seen, tremendous. Have you been seeing that type of feedback?
Yeah, I've seen great feedback. I mean, obviously there's the negative, but that's always, if you have that, but I think it's what everybody should have expected it to be. I mean, Ken has, along with Glenn and Rob, they were the main songwriters for Judas Priest. They had a way to do things. And I think this is Ken just unleashing what he wanted to do, even maybe that he couldn't have done before. And you can hear that on this record. You hear classic KK stuff going on,
Agreed.
and I think, the response, it's exactly what it really should be. I don't know, nobody should expect Ken or myself to release something that, I mean, I release 8 million records a year.
Right.
so I am able to do other things, but KK has to release a KK Downing record. He has to release something that is, he's been doing it since he was in his teens,
Yep.
And yeah, the response has been really good. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. Now, like you said, these are songs, well, you were talking about some of the songs. Are these songs that he's had, I'll say, quote unquote, in his vault, let's just say, that were pre-written, or these stuff that you guys wrote specifically for this album?
I think it's probably been a lot in his vault, or he just sat down and started writing right when he knew he was going to release it. When we did that show with Ellefson in
November of 19, right?
Yeah, November 19. He had the bug to play because he just did that show with Ross the Boss and Bloodstock. And then when Judas Priest said, he wasn't going to be involved in the 50th anniversary, I think he really buckled down right then and there. I think he probably already had some stuff, but it was easy for him to write because he's done it for so long. He just started writing riffs, but this one was all KK. I mean, I know AJ and Tony and myself, we had our things we threw in there and ideas, but this was like, let KK go, let him do it, because he's only, I've said this a million times, he's only done Judas Priest. I mean, sure. I heard him the other day saying, yeah, I did some guest solos and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm thinking to myself, you never released a solo record. You never, you were the old school guy that just stuck with your band and that was it.
Agreed.
And yes, but the next record, he actually even said, it's funny because as we were recording it, we're done with it. He's like, you got any songs you want to throw in here? It was really funny. A little late for that, don't you think? But I've been doing a lot of writing lately with music for a band, or vocals and music for a band called Pyramid. Just as a guest singer, and I'm ready to write with Ken on the next one. I'm ready for him to send me some songs. Go, hey, put some ideas down. So it'll be good. But this was what it should have been. This record.
Right. And to me, that's one of the exciting things that, this album's a week away from being released, and there's already talk about a second album. And I saw that also that KK was talking about having you guys more involved in the songwriting. So it sounds like this album, you really, I'll say, wasn't really involved in the songwriting.
No, we weren't. But here's the thing that I keep saying, which makes it like we were, is Ken wrote the album and the songs for me. Okay. When he wrote it, it's like, okay, Ripper, this is how Ripper's, he can do this. So this is how, it's not like he was writing it in a, now what's funny is when I write stuff to it, it might sound even a little different because, when I sit down and write now, there's no rhyme or reason on what I'm going to sing it like. I mean, when I do these Pyramid records or I do these other records or these songs, there could be a part that reminds people of David Bowie or something. Just, sure. It's all over the place. I mean, it's still metal, but you add, because I grew up with Dio and Rob and Sabotage, I love the singing characters. So, but writing on this one, it was written for me. So it made it feel like that. It wasn't sure. Like it was going in there with something strange. He had a game plan. And he also said, you can sing it. I changed things around at times, or sang it in a voice that I thought was better,
Right.
different, maybe not even better. I'll tell you, AJ, the guitar player, he laid the vocal guides down on the tracks, and man, that dude can sing. I was like, Ken, man, you got AJ over here singing this shit, and he's a young got to pass it off to the old man now.
Oh, that's great. But you know what? I think that's one of the things that the fans have really embraced about this. And I've seen this online and on my pages quite a bit. A lot of fans now feel like there's quote unquote two Priest fans, and two, Judas Priest, KK's Priest, they kind of have the best of both worlds. And they really love that you're involved in this. Do you feel like there's going to be like this friendly competition, or maybe not so friendly, but I'll call it friendly competition between yourselves and Judas Priest?
No, I think, I don't think we look at it that as all. Here's the thing. I know people say that, and that's really cool, but there's one Judas Priest.
Okay.
Their Judas Priest. I mean, if we wanted to take that angle, we would have called it KK's Judas Priest.
Right.
But I think fans are happy because they know they do have two things that are in the same vein, and they have KK back. And, I've went nowhere. I've been putting music out like crazy. But they have Ken and I back together again. So there's no competition. I mean, hell, I think, how awesome would it be if we do shows with them? I don't care. You know what I mean? I really don't. I love the guys in Priest. I love, Rob's my idol. And I love, Richie and I are friends, and, but this isn't a competition, or it's called KK's Priest because, first of all, you got to jump at what he's about, right? But yeah, absolutely. But I get it. But we're not trying to make it a competition or another Judas Priest. It's just that's why we put an album out first, right? That was the difference. If we were trying to make it that, we would start touring right away by doing the back catalog.
Right. No, that makes sense to me. So it sounds like you guys would be open if ever the invitation was there to tour with Judas Priest.
Well, I'm open to anything. I've never burned bridges. Yep. From the sounds of it, it's never going to happen because it never happened with me. Right. I tried to get Beyond Fear to support Judas Priest on a tour. Wendy Dio was my manager, and they were like, absolutely not.
Right. Oh, wow.
That's not, you're not going to open. You're not going to support us. But we're all friends, and I'm speaking from me.
Sure, of course. That's all you can do, right? That's all you can do.
I'm not speaking for Ken.
Right.
But yeah, listen, I always look at it as how much fans would love stuff. You know what I mean? That's
absolutely.
How cool would it be if that happened,
Yeah, no, I think the fans would love it. Has there been any feedback from the Judas Priest camp at all about even just the project, the album, et cetera, or have they been silent on it?
I think they've been silent. I don't know. Ken deals with that on that whole aspect, I saw Jane, the coordinating manager, in an event, and we, when this was first released that this was coming out, and we talked, and we didn't really talk much about that. We just talked about things and what's going on, and but yeah, I haven't heard anything at all. I'd love to hear it though, because I love every time I see Rob and talk to him. It's always good, and I still learn from my idols on any tips. Ronnie used to give me tips all the time, and so I love picking their brains and talking to them.
Absolutely. So now the fans have heard the 4 singles, like I said before, that were released. So put those 4 songs to the side. Are there any other songs that stand out to you that you're like, hey, I can't wait for the fans to hear this particular one?
Well, there's, that's what's funny is we released the first 2 records and like, oh, Ripper's singing high and blah, he's trying to do this. I'm like, first of all, I've sang high my whole career. I've been singing for 30 years. First of all, stop telling me I'm trying to sound like somebody else, because I sing however I want to, and it's me.
Right.
30 years of music career. Stop telling me when I sing a high note, I sound like Rob or somebody else. But the songs, they go all over the place. We have our, my favorite is probably The Return of the Sentinel. Okay. it closes the record,
Mhm.
and fantastic song, and it's all over the place. It's an epic piece. It ends in it's got a little bit of everything in it, some off timing stuff, this, that, and the other. It's I think people will be surprised with some of the other songs. Sacerdote, E Diablo. There's a couple really killer tracks on there left.
Awesome. We look forward to it. That's for sure. You mentioned before that show that you guys did in November of 19. At that time, did you guys know that there was going to be an album in the future, or was it at the time you just thought it was going to be a one and done type of gig?
Oh, there was no talk of a record then.
Hmm.
The offers started flooding in to do shows.
Sure.
That's, after we did that, it was like, I knew it was the floodgates were going to open. But yeah, there wasn't really any. I think it never, like I said, it never happened until after I think everybody in the world, Judas Priest fans and whatnot, were probably thinking Ken would probably go back and do some of the 50th anniversary tour.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Especially with Glenn getting sick,
Mm-hmm.
it only made sense. And when that wasn't happening, I think that was the moment, and I think that might've been in December. So it wasn't like it was only weeks later.
Sure.
Absolutely. But yeah, it was a blast. We did like doing Before the Dawn. Ken was like, man, I've never played Before the Dawn live.
Right.
And so he was excited. He was excited about it. He was really, it was 10 years up to that point, I think, before he was on stage. So it was, doing those songs.
Without a doubt. Now, so what is the plans to tour for the album? Do you guys know yet at this point?
Well, yeah, we're definitely, we want to get it together. The thing is, it's not going to be small stages. Mm-hmm. Ken's only going to go out if it's, big stages, big production, maybe a great support act for some big tours or co-headlining or whatever it takes, or headlining bigger venues, festivals. We're going to do it as soon as we can. It's just, like I'm touring all of America with the Three Trimmers in November and part of this and beginning of December, because it's easy for us to put a little tour together at little venues and little clubs.
Sure.
It's easy for me to put solo tours together at small clubs and go all around the world. But KK's Priest is it's a different beast. It's new. We got to wait till the record comes out, see what the promoters will do, but I mean, I look for next year to be very, very busy. I hope it's at least very busy with KK's Priest. I could make it very busy with me doing solo tours, but I'd be very busy with KK's Priest.
That's awesome news. Now, obviously, travel is still limited because of COVID, but if things do lighten up a little bit, do you think it'll be a world tour?
Oh, I think wherever we can go. I don't think that's obviously what the plan is, is to tour and do whatever we can do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a band. It's not a project, So when you make a band and from the start that your idea is to do big things, mm-hmm. It's harder with projects and getting everybody together and stuff, and I'll just have to clean my schedule up and make sure mm-hmm. I'm available and get it.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you actually just said that, because I know when it was first announced, I saw it, quite honestly, as a project. I thought it was going to be KK's a solo album, if you will. But now to me, this feels like a legitimate band that's going to have legs behind it, hopefully a few albums. You guys, it sounds like, also feel like it's a band. It's not his solo project at this point.
Yeah, and that's why we did it that way, I mean, that's why, first of all, like I said, we did the record first and wanted to make sure we're coming off of these tunes and people can hear it. And it definitely makes it seem like a band, Mm-hmm. We got a great bunch of guys here in this band. And so we just want to make sure that's what it is.
That's awesome. Now, I know originally on the album, Les was supposed to play drums and he had a wrist injury. He was unable to perform on the album. First off, how's he feeling?
I think he's feeling good. I think he could be back to normal. It's hard. It's a big pill to swallow for people to get on the road. Mm-hmm. And I think everything about it, with him getting hurt, he stays local quite a bit, and I think the the goals were really big with this in the first place. So, the plan was for him to do it. Then he gets hurt. And I think he also realizes, man, I don't know. I mean, whether this could even work, and, but he's so good and we have so much fun with him. That's why right away it's like, well, listen, if you're hurt, you don't know if you could keep up with it because of the wrist and the things. That's when Ken said maybe you can guest at some shows and do that. But I'll tell you, right when it happened, this happened right when I got to rehearsal and we were recording. It wasn't like it was any advance. We didn't even have a drummer when I started recording.
Oh wow!
And I said, my drummer in Three Tremors, Sean, is amazing. He's amazing. He's professional. He could do this. You should check him out. And they're like, well, we got some guys in England we look at it. So we'll check out the videos and do it. And Ken's like, well, if you say and I never recommend anybody because I don't want you to come back on me.
Right.
And,
you have reputation on the line if it doesn't work out.
Yes. But this was a no-brainer for me. And he was on a plane a week later and laid those drum tracks down. And he is fantastic. So, we really got someone in here that is young. Well, I thought he's 40, but I thought he was like in his upper 20s. So he fooled me. And, but he's a professional and he's hungry and he knows what to do. So we got someone in there, but Les, Les is unbelievable. It would have been fantastic if we could have got Les to do it. But I just think everything about it was, I think when he got the wrist injury, I think it kind of was like, okay. But he'll be out playing with us and hanging out with us. We'll get him out to some shows and some festivals. I'm sure of it. We'll fly him out to sit in and do some jams.
That's awesome. And then once you guys are playing live, obviously I'm sure you'll be focusing a lot on the new album, as you should, but I'm assuming you'll also mix in some of the Priest classics that you guys are known for, your tenure, as well as maybe some of the classics.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt we'll be putting some of mine in. Burning Hell, 101, Hell's Home. I said we'll be playing a lot of the new stuff. I'd like to hit some classics. And you talk about members coming out. I just called Ken and we were talking the other day, and I said we should do Never Satisfied from Rock-a-Rolla. I said because you wrote that with Al Atkins. So I said, how cool is this that it's you and Al Atkins song? I said maybe we can even have Al come out to the show, or maybe we could re-record it with Al and I singing it together. But I think we'd pick some of these songs like that, and Before the Dawn, do that again. And but I think it'll be some different songs we do. I mean, not that, listen, to Judas Priest in the last couple of years have played fantastic sets live, so they went back to songs anyways. But it'll be cool. I think we'd have to pick them. Ken talks more about playing the new stuff, though. That's all he talks about. I'm going out and playing the new stuff,
which is exciting.
I said, Ken, we got to play some other ones. I'm playing all the new stuff. So.
Right. Absolutely. Now, I know you had big shoes to fill when you first joined Judas Priest, right? I mean, it's always hard to join a classic rock band like that, and especially somebody like Rob Halford. I mean, huge shoes to fill. Do you feel this time around, maybe it's, I'll say, a little bit easier because it is a separate entity, or what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it's totally different because there wasn't a band. I mean, listen, I'm filling the shoes of going in after Rob or going in after Matt Barlow and Iced Earth. I mean, this is just what you do.
Right.
The problem with me when I joined Judas Priest was it was the absolute worst time in heavy metal ever.
Yes, you ain't kidding.
Nobody was coming to concerts, buying records. It was a really bad time. Fortunately, Judas Priest has great fans, and it was great. But there's no pressure now. I mean, I like I said, I've had a long career. I'm wanted to sing on people's albums. I get calls all the time to do records or join bands. I mean, so this is all I need to do is make us happy. So the only pressure on me is to sing these songs live and sound as good as I can, And I actually didn't feel pressure when I joined Judas Priest because I knew how I sang.
Sure.
And I was a Judas Priest fan. So as a fan, knowing how I sang, I'm like, why wouldn't I like me?
Right. Of course. Right.
And, come to the concert. You don't like the record, come to the concert and watch it. But I totally, fans didn't accept me. I understood it and I was fine with it. All I do is go on and try to blow people away. That's about all I want to do.
That's it. Now, you mentioned before singing some of the high notes. How do you keep your voice in such good shape? Because we see a lot of singers as they get older, they lose their voice. You sound like you still have it 100%. How do you maintain that?
I pray that I have it, I guess.
Oh, that's great.
What's bad is talking is really bad. Like my voice now from doing interviews today, driving and doing is worse than it is when I'm in the studio all day. I've been in the studio every day singing on these songs for people. And my voice is fried right now. It's fried. And but I'll have to rest. I do a lot of get a lot of rest. I drink a lot of water, and I try not to talk. But the voice is a weird thing. You just lose it. My voice hasn't been as great the last couple of years that it used to be, but I find new ways to sing and new things, how to attack it. Last week it's been now I say that and I feel fried. The last week and it's been fantastic in the studio. It seems like it's coming back better than it has been. But when the style that Rob and I sing, anybody sings, you can lose your voice. Rob didn't seem to have it as good. A little stretch. People would always talk about it, and now he sounds better than ever. And it's nothing he does. I know he rests. I know he doesn't talk. I know he drinks. I know he takes care of his voice. I heard he's a lot like me. Chews a lot of gum. But when you're singers like us, sometimes you just, Ken, I remember one time I lost my voice at one of the early shows I had with Judas Priest. And I was so upset. And he's like, man, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. He goes, you don't do anything. You go to the gym, you do all this. He said, as a guitar player, we have to shut our fingers in the car door if we're not going to play good. But you guys just wake up and you might not have a voice, so.
Right. No, I was thinking about that even as you were talking about Les before. I mean, it's tough physically on drummers as people age, but there's no place for a singer to hide. When you start to lose your voice, everybody under the sun sees it. You get all the YouTube videos, you get the posts on the different websites that say, X person can no longer sing. There's no place to hide as a singer.
No, there's sometimes there's nothing you could do about it. I mean, I know there is singers that don't take care of themselves, but they probably didn't take care of themselves their whole life vocally. Sure. And I've tried to. Ronnie Dio was a guy that, listen, he drank beer and talked to everybody before the show. He was Mr. Entertainer. And then we'd get up there and sound great all the way up to his very last concert. And me, I don't want anybody talking to me. I'm drinking only water and I struggle. And then there's Ronnie, who was just like up there, so some people have a voice made of concrete and some people have it made of cheese. And I think mine's made of cheese, but I just got to make sure I take care of it.
Absolutely. So then if the band does tour next year, it sounds like you'll put a lot of your other projects and things that you're working on off to the side. So KK's Priest could tour and do another record.
Absolutely. They just got to give me notice so I could, obviously music is how I make my living. So they can't tell me, not do anything. And then I'm sitting at home, not doing anything.
Of course.
But I will stop everything. Everybody knows it. That was the question right away with Ken and the management, whether I was going to be full on. And I did. I'll tell you, when I was really excited is I was playing a 3 Trimmer show in England in February of 2020. And Ken's like, all right, here, I got some of the songs. And I was pretty close to him that show, because he always comes to my shows and I play, whether it's 2 hours away or not. He was always coming throughout the years, watching my solo shows. And he goes, we sat in this car, just like I'm sitting now, in this parking lot of the hotel right by the venue, listening to the songs in his car. And it was kind of cool. It was like, man, this is good shit. And he's excited. And it was like, this is good shit, man. This is really cool.
Sure. Awesome. Well, like we said before, signed vinyl is on the website. There's just the regular standard vinyl edition. Of course, there's CDs. You could stream it. I always encourage people to buy the physical product because I think the artists get more money from the physical product than the pennies they make from streaming. Anything else you want the fans to know about the record?
Well, that just spread the word that it's out, any information you can always check on my website as well, or my email, or my, Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. I'm always pushing, whether it's my merchandise. So don't forget, you can get my merchandise as well.
Absolutely. And where did I
But
get that? What's the website?
well, timripperowens.com, but the Instagrams and Facebook and Twitter's like Tim Ripper Owens official, or it's easy to find official Tim Ripper Owens or Tim Ripper official. But I push all the links to KK's Priest on there nonstop. But obviously the easiest way to get anything about the information about KK's Priest is to go to the KK's Priest site. Go to KK's Priest Facebook or Instagram or Twitter if there is one, and website though is the best place to get it and figure it out.
Awesome. Well, Ripper, I want to say thank you for taking the time. I know you're busy. You're on the road right now and you're doing this from the car. I want to say thank you for that. Much success with the album. Let's hope the band tours next year, and let's hope all the other projects that you'll be involved in have much success in your future.
You got it, buddy. Thanks
awesome.
a lot.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Alrighty, there you have it. I'd like to thank Ripper for taking some time out of his very busy schedule to talk with me all about the new KK Priest album. I think you guys that love Judas Priest are going to really love this one. I can't wait to check it out on October 1st. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button below. If you're listening to one of my podcasts, subscribe over there as well. Also, head on over to Facebook and follow my page, The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn, where each and every day we talk about all the rock and roll music that you love. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you all next time.